Hey, Mickey and
Sammy.
want to talk about our favorite tips for rice. It's one of those things we like to cook it in a pan. We don't necessarily use a rice cooker or Instant Pot or something fancy. We do kick it old school.
You can, and you can do that in this or those as well.
But this is something to enhance the flavor of the rice, make it taste a little bit better, and increase the texture when you're cooking it. And so this is white jasmine rice, nothing fancy. It's actually a lot easier on your system than brown rice. I know a lot of people stick with brown rice because they feel like, oh, it's healthier, or that like white rice is somehow bad. Actually, like nutritionally, they're very comparable. The super high fiber in the brown rice actually makes it really hard on your digestive system. So it could be really hard on your GI tract. This is actually a lot easier for you to digest. So the problem with white rice potentially is overconsumption, not the grain itself. So try it. Plus it tastes better.
So what's the ratio?
With rice, it's always 2 to 1. So if you use like a cup of rice, then 2 cups of water. And then the thing that makes this fun is we're going to add a little bit of Himalayan salt and vanilla to the rice to enhance the flavors. Neither one of these add any calories, and it just accentuates the flavors of the grain of the rice itself. So it's awesome. It's not going to taste super salty or sweet. It just helps bring it alive.
It's amazing. I was surprised when I first tried this. I'm like, vanilla and rice? I'm like, that seems really, really, really awkward. So we eat a lot of rice. Well, I should say, he eats a lot of rice, my beast of a husband. And so we are making 2 cups. We got 2 cups of rice. So that means we need 6.
4 cups.
Oh, 4 cups.
Yes.
No!
It's math.
Do your math correctly.
It's Math Monday.
I'm used to 3.
Yeah, typically when we cook it's 3, and it's every other day now. But this is just for you guys for display. So once she adds the water, then we will add a little bit of vanilla and salt. So it's nothing crazy, we don't like measure it. This isn't an exact science. If you ask me, cooking is more an art form than a science. So just do what you feel is right. So for vanilla, it's just like a little bit, so just add it. There you go, boom.
That's like 2 dashes, we'll say. 2 dashes.
And she goes heavy with the salt. So nothing wrong with salt. Like, and the reality is that salt can cause water retention, so can carbs. But we always say, like, outside of like excess levels of sodium, you want to make sure that you retain as much salt or have a decent amount of salt in your body, because it's going to avoid fluctuation with water. Because if you're like on a low sodium intake or a low carb intake, then when you have a little bit of salt, you're going to balloon up, and that's when people get into trouble, because they're like, oh, I'm going to drop carbs or drop salt and I'll lose a whole bunch of weight, and then the moment they smell salt, they put on 10 pounds, like, I don't know what happened. So if you stay fairly high or like decent levels or regulated levels of salt and carbs, then you won't have that fluctuation in your day-to-day or your normal weight, depending on the things that you eat. So that's pretty much it. Then you put it on the stove. If you're using a pan, bring it to a boil, and then cover it, reduce to a simmer for 15 minutes, and then let it rest. If you're using a rice cooker, just turn that bitch on.
Rice! Enjoy, guys.